story to tell you today, and it's called An Exciting Bear Hunt. And this story was by Henry A. Smith of Greenbush, Clinton County, Michigan. And it was read at the annual meeting of the State Society of the State Pioneer Society on February 2nd, 1876 by William Besley, also of Clinton County. Now, it is a fascinating first-hand account of this individual and early resident of that area, and a bear hunt that he went on. And I think you'll enjoy it. So consider this was Michigan, when Michigan was on the frontier. In the fall of 1819, I commenced living in a log cabin in the woods with no neighbors on the north but Indians. And on the east, west, and south, the white people were few and far between. My wife owned a cow that we brought from Ohio with us. My property consisted of an axe, a gun, an iron wedge, and 12.5 cents, and I owed for the lumber for my cabin. No supplies for the winter, wages 50 cents a day, and no one wished to hire. I need not relate all the particulars of my situation, even if it were possible. My brother pioneers will approach or appreciate the ups and downs to which we were subjected. My axe, wedge, and gun were all working tools of my profession. And time wore on till the fall of 1856. In those years, a few other settlers had come around us. In that fall, I still owed $50. After having secured my little products for the winter, I took a job of chopping and immediately commenced upon it. I very soon discovered indications of bears. Now this excited my curiosity, and now allow me to relate the experience of one afternoon. After eating my frugal dinner, I buckled up my armor, which consisted of a bullet pouch, powder horn, butcher knife, and an old Lancaster rifle. Accompanied by a little black dog, I started for a cedar swamp about 3 miles distant. Advancing a short distance into the swamp, I was surprised to hear a tremendous floundering in a cedar top lying on the ground by my side. In the twinkling of an eye, I saw that it was a large bear. And throwing my gun on my shoulder, in the act of pulling the trigger, I found the dog in range of the bear, which made me cringe so that I missed both dog and bear. The next moment, I was vexed to hear them rushing through the swamp with great noise, and when the dog came back, I applied enough of the oil of whip so that afterwards he gave me the first chance. Again we started. After going about half a mile to the north side of the swamp, open woods commenced. Away on an oak ridge, I saw another bear coming towards me, so I planted my feet square on the ground and prepared for his reception. On he came, and when within proper distance, I gave a sharp whistle, and he stopped. As he stopped, I drew a bead, aiming at his vitals. The ball took effect, and away he ran towards the east, sending the dog in pursuit before I had reloaded my gun. I heard the dog overtake him, and I directly knew the bear was in trouble. I started on the run and had not gone many rods when, lo, another big bear was directly before me, making north towards Maple River, except to give me a saucy look. Thinks I, we will see what virtue there is in the lead. And between me and the bear was a large log lying parallel with the course within the course the bear was taking. By the time he appeared, again, I confess I had the bear ague. Never having had it before, I did not know very well how to manage it. If I may intercede, the ague was a type of illness. In this case, I would think maybe he was talking about paralysis, possibly. But I have an interesting video up on the ague that reached epidemic level here in Saginaw about this same time. So I will do my best to try to remember to put a link in the description for that video too. Never having had it before, I did not know very well how to manage it. And I had had the buck ague. My remedy for that was chewing my tongue, but that failed to relieve this case, so I fired on him, taking the best aim I could under the circumstances. It had the effect to quicken his pace, and he soon disappeared, and I began to run and to reload at the same time. I could easily follow his trail in the burnt leaves, now and then leading or lending an ear to the exciting tones of my faithful dog in pursuit. This was the smoky fall. There were many fires, and these woods were mostly burned over. I soon came in sight of my enemy again, discharging my rifle, which again renewed his pace. The performance was 3 times repeated when the program changed. The bear wheeled about, facing me, and such ugly snarls I had not been used to hearing. Before this, I often wished I could have a brush with a Bruin or bear. I now had my chance. When near me, the dog ran past me. The two met, and then I saw fun. Sometimes the dog was after the bear, and the bear would be after the dog. The fever raged in my brain, so I scarcely knew whether it was on my head or on my feet. I shook so I could not load my gun, and soon the two were out of sight on the other side of a fallen log. But I could hear the enraged bear. As I ran up the log, I saw the dog hanging to the hind foot of the beast, the dog getting entangled in the brush so as I had to loose his hold, and I sang out, "Take him, Cuff!" And the dog seized him by the side of the head, and quickly, as a flash, the dog was whirled 10 feet in the air, but did not appear to be hurt, seized him again, and in an instant my little dog was lost to sight, the bear having him in a very close embrace. Then was my time, and seizing my gun by the muzzle, I made my dash. Reserving my blow from the gun, I gave the bear a hard blow from my boot, which instantly brought him to me face to face, with form erect on his hind feet, with his head higher than mine, so I had to look up. Now came the blow with the gun, hitting him with angling fork across the face, the breech bounding against a tree some 20 feet away, and the bear tumbled over on its back. Now for my knife. Horror of horrors, it was gone. All in a flutter, I looked for it and found it not. The bear, again on his feet, I sprang to repeat the blow. A limb overhead entangled my weapon, so I missed my aim. Seizing the bear by the back of the neck to strike him with the other hand was about the last I knew just then, for something hit me over the right eye, which sent me into a whirl against the root of a tree, and bouncing forward on my face, could not see very well. But the next moment, a sight met me that froze me. From such a sight may I forever be delivered, for within a foot of my head, with mouth distended, was the enraged bear. Wow. I don't know what I would have done. Throwing up my right hand, he caught me by the wrist, dragging me, the enraged bear. Throwing up my right hand, he caught me by the wrist, dragging me out on my breast into the ashes, nearly putting an eye out with froth and blood, and that he snorted in my face, and he sprang to grasp me within his massive paws. Now here let me pause and say that at the moment my soul was stung with the thought that I must leave a wife and children, dearer than all else beside even life itself. Death, in all its terrors, stared me in the face, and such a death, tenfold energy, was at the moment given me. All timidity fled. Death or victory. The moment was decisive, and indeed it would have been. As the bear sprang on me, I seized him by the whiskers with my left hand, which brought me to my feet again. Now came the tug of war. From the feet to the knees, and from the knees to the feet were the changes of position for time. He would try to hold me close enough to poke me under his arm, or to poke me under him, so that I would have to put my head to his head and pry with my neck to keep from going under. We were pretty evenly matched, but I thought that he had a little the best of it on a square pull. And I would gladly have given my right hand to have made my escape, but no quarter on this part. I managed with my left hand to give him a blow which caused him to let go for a hold, to let go for a new hold. And he missed, and I made double quick time with Braun close behind and on my coattails. Full 15 rods were closely contested when I broke off a limb and whirled it in his face, which checked his motion. I wheeled and made for my gun, and I saw the barrel lying on the ground, and the bear, again, closing in on me. Not realizing the conditions of my arm, I failed to grasp it as I passed by, and I ran to an old treetop, broke off a dirty limb, and gave the bear such a blow as felled him to the ground. I caught hold of the gun, but failed as before, becoming discouraged with dry limbs. I was bound to fix him next time if he would give me time to get a weapon. He did not seem inclined to follow me, and while I was preparing for him, he got up and he walked slowly away, making a doleful cry, and this gave me a chance to recover my gun barrel. I became the pursuer and went round so as to meet the bear where he was aiming to cross a fallen log. At this place I met him with such a blow from the end of my gun barrel that the iron entered his brain, and we rolled on the ground together. I belabored him till he ceased to kick. Once more I felt free, but not to breathe clearly. I began to feel faint, and soon lost consciousness. At length I found myself lying on the ground, having lost all idea of latitude. And when I started, I tried to keep a straight course, and my good luck led me out to my brother-in-law's, Lyman Van Sickles, near where Bridgeville is now. Martha, his wife, met me some 20 rods from the house under great excitement, for I was barefooted, ragged, and bloody from head to feet. I could only whisper, for my throat was clogged, so she gave me Radway's Ready Relief from work, and we all went out and hung the bear. Found my hat, but my knife I never found. I felt some tired the next day, so I did not look for another bear, which was not found till it was spoiled. In a few days I shot another bear, and I saved the oil from the two, amounting 13 gallons, which I sold to Mr. David Sturgis, who once lived in DeWitt. One bone of my arm was cracked, so it was lame all winter, but I finished my job, paid off my debt of $50, and bought clothes for the winter. Now, fellow pioneers, I have given you one of the hardest adventures of my life, one of the many that I should have wished to be excused from, but I have been carried through them all. I have raised, with the help of my good wife, who is still spared to me, 5 children, 2 of them married, and all doing well. Though somewhat broken in health, I still have a wish to hunt every fall to procure some venison. And now, brethren and sisters, who have tasted both the bitter and the sweets of pioneer life, may we eventually meet in a house not made with hands, that is eternal in heaven. An interesting tale, and it's hard for me to picture Michigan as that frontier wilderness as this gentleman and his wife and children lived in. Here in Saginaw, where I live, up until the 1860s, was primarily swampland, and it was settled, obviously. I'm here. But I hope you enjoyed the story, and the pictures that I found to go with it. Please, 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 leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I have a lot more things coming your way. There's some big changes going on my channel right now, because I'm trying to bring it back to where I wanted it to be originally, which was going to be mostly videos that I produced myself. And so it's going to be limited radio and limited other things. And unfortunately for you, a lot of me. So I appreciate you all so very much. I love you all so very much. And I pray God's blessings and love on each of you. I will see you again, God willing, real soon.